Natural disasters have swept across several continents at once: Asia, Europe, Africa, and America. In just a few days, nature changed the lives of millions of people. The most tragic events are coming up next in this report. USA. On November 29th, when most residents of the country were returning from celebrating Thanksgiving, the central regions of the United States were hit by a powerful winter storm. A massive cloud front stretched from the Gulf of Mexico to Canada. More than 25 million people were warned about the bad weather. Heavy snow fell in the Midwest, and thunderstorms raged in the South. In the state of Iowa, in the city of Des Moines, about 21 centimeters of snow fell in one day, a record value for November. An incident also occurred at the airport. A Delta Airlines aircraft, while turning, rolled off the runway because it was covered with ice. The airport was temporarily closed, and passengers remained on board for several hours. On Interstate 70 in the state of Indiana, almost simultaneously, a collision involving 45 vehicles occurred, which led to a complete halt of traffic. In the state of Illinois, a school bus ran off the road and crashed into a power line pole, as a result of which one child had to be hospitalized. On the morning of November 30th, snowfall set new records in a number of states. In some places, the snow cover reached 38 centimeters.
The ropes and into the lobby, but as for this week,
Air traffic across the entire country was paralyzed. More than 2,700 flights were canceled. The main share occurred at Chicago airports, when a sudden snow squall reduced visibility to almost zero within a few minutes. Tahiti. Early in the morning of November 26th, in the village of Afahiti on the island of Tahiti, after a week of downpours, a major landslide occurred. A mass of soil almost 30 meters high collapsed from the slope, completely destroying one residential house and seriously damaging another. Several hours after the start of rescue operations, they were suspended due to a repeated collapse of soil in the same area. The tragedy led to the deaths of 8 people, including a 3-year-old girl. Residents of dozens of nearby houses were evacuated. On November 28th, new movements of soil were recorded, which confirmed the continuing instability of the slope. Indonesia. Prolonged rains, which began on November 25th, resulted in one of the most devastating disasters of recent decades for the island of Sumatra. In the provinces of Aceh, North Sumatra, and West Sumatra, more than 3 million people were affected. 570,000 were forced to leave their homes. In just one day, in some areas, about 1.5 monthly norms of precipitation fell. Extreme downpours led to river overflows, mudflows, and landslides, which blocked roads and destroyed bridges. More than 27,000 houses, numerous schools, and infrastructure facilities were damaged, and farmlands and farms were destroyed. Hundreds of settlements were covered with a thick layer of mud. Many of them were completely isolated from the outside world. Humanitarian aid to the affected areas was delivered by aircraft and military ships. Many residents faced the threat of hunger. In despair, they carried out looting of food warehouses and stores. Local residents said that the disaster struck suddenly. Within a matter of seconds, a huge wave of water burst into homes. This had never happened here before. The death toll reached 708 people. 504 are considered missing. More than 2,600 were injured. The cause of this disaster was the tropical cyclone Senyar. A phenomenon that is almost unimaginable for Sumatra. The fact is that the island is located in the equatorial region, where cyclones do not form. Here, the influence of the Earth's rotation is too weak, and a storm simply cannot spin up. Until recently, only one similar case was known, Cyclone Vame, in the year 2001. It was considered an event that could recur only after hundreds of years. That is precisely why the tropical cyclone Senyar came as a complete surprise to specialists and local residents. Sri Lanka. On November 28th, the eastern coast of Sri Lanka was affected by the tropical cyclone Ditva, accompanied by torrential rains and destructive winds. The elements affected the entire country. The central, northwestern, and Uva provinces were the most affected. Due to rivers and reservoirs overflowing their banks, cities, villages, and agricultural lands were flooded. Floods and landslides caused the blockage of highways throughout the country, stopped train traffic, and led to the closure of government institutions and schools. The collapse of power lines and the flooding of water treatment plants led to the fact that 1/3 of the population was left without electricity, internet, and water. The president stated that this natural disaster became the most serious catastrophe in the history of the island state. The city of Colombo, the commercial capital of Sri Lanka, was also among the affected. Local residents accustomed to seasonal flooding were struck by the speed of the water rise. They note that this time everything developed faster and stronger than usual. At night, the situation looked calm, and by morning the water had already flooded homes, forcing people to move to upper floors and roofs. As a resident of the central region reported, about 15 houses in her area were buried under boulders and mud, and there were no survivors. On November 29th in Kurunegala, water flooded a nursing home, which led to the deaths of 11 elderly people. The scale of destruction is enormous. About 800 houses were completely destroyed. More than 31,000 were damaged. 10 bridges were destroyed, and more than 200 roads are still impassable. Across the entire island, more than 1.5 million people were affected. More than 230,000 residents left their homes and were forced to move to temporary shelters. The death toll rose to 465 people, and 366 are considered missing. The number of victims may still increase significantly, since many affected areas are still inaccessible. Greece. From November 26th, and for 4 days, Greece was under the influence of Storm Adele. The epicenter of the severe weather was the mountainous region of Sumatra, where in November nearly 2/3 of the annual volume of precipitation fell. The storm, adding more than 200 millimeters in just 4 days, significantly worsened the situation. In Sumatra, at least 6 major landslides were recorded. The village of Agnanda in the Epirus region suffered the most. Here, some houses literally ended up hanging in the air above a cliff. And in the village of Dodoni, due to continuous extreme rainfall over 10 days, a serious subsidence of the road surface occurred, completely halting traffic. In the Thessaly region, under the pressure of water, the Three Rivers Bridge collapsed, and its fragments were carried away by a fast river current. In the coastal village of Phoenicus on the Peloponnese Peninsula on November 27th, a powerful tornado occurred. Although it raged for only a few minutes, it managed to damage shops, hotel complexes, and residential houses. Fallen trees and power line supports completely deprived the village of electricity. The elements also caused serious damage to olive groves and the citrus harvest. In Mytilene, on the island of Lesbos, on November 28th, heavy hail fell, which clogged the sewer system and flooded streets and shops. Storm Adele led to significant problems on the island of Thassos. Turbulent flows caused landslides, damaged roads, and flooded the first floors of buildings in the village of Potamia. According to the island's mayor, the damage was extensive and serious, and the volume of water was unprecedented. In Athens, the Kifissos River overflowed its banks. Traffic through the city became difficult, and people had to be transported across streets by special vehicles. The downpours led to floods but were unable to rid the region of drought. The reservoirs remain at minimum levels. The overdried soil practically does not absorb water, and it immediately flows into rivers and then into the sea, without replenishing the reserves. Peru.
The region has sunk 2 boats, leaving at least about 13...
Early in the morning of December 1st, in the port of Epirus, located deep in the Peruvian Amazon, a deadly landslide occurred. Early in the morning of December 1st, in the port of Epirus, located deep in the Peruvian Amazon, a deadly landslide occurred. Due to erosion of the riverbank, a huge mass of soil collapsed onto 2 vessels standing at the pier. The first, empty vessel, sank instantly, while the second, which had about 100 passengers on board, was seriously damaged. According to eyewitnesses, everything happened at the moment when many people were already disembarking, which only increased the scale of the tragedy. Naval forces and the police continued the search for survivors, both on the water and from the air. The situation was complicated by morning fog, strong river current, whirlpools, and drifting debris. As a result of the tragedy, at least 13 people, including 4 children, were killed, and 57 people remain missing. Algeria. At the end of November, the northern provinces of Algeria were hit by abnormal snowfall, which was observed from early morning on the 27th, mainly in regions located at an altitude of more than 1,000 meters. 6 provinces suffered the most, where a serious transport collapse occurred. In the mountainous areas, it was necessary to partially block more than 16 national and provincial highways. In the province of Borj Bu Ararij, in some places a 20-centimeter layer of snow formed, due to which movement became almost impossible. And this is considering that, according to statistics, snow in these places in November occurs only once every 5 years. In Jafra, it was possible to rescue 13 people who had fallen into a snow trap. In the municipality of Medjana, rescuers pulled 6 cars and 1 truck out of the snow. There were 10 people in them. For road clearing, not only municipal services were deployed, but also units of civil defense and the National Gendarmerie, performing the work under conditions of ongoing snowfall and poor visibility. When analyzing climate data, it is evident that such a height of the snow cover at the end of November turned out to be an unprecedented phenomenon for this region. Serbia. On November 28th, in the city of Kragujevac, at a construction site, 36 meters of a retaining wall and a section of a new access road that had not yet been put into operation collapsed. At the time of the incident, there were no people at the site, so there were no casualties. In the following days, the situation did not improve. The soil continued to shift, and the asphalt surface continued to collapse. The landslide came almost right up to the walls of the Center of Excellence, one of Serbia's key scientific facilities. The authorities directly linked the incident to prolonged precipitation, which increased soil moisture and led to a decrease in its stability.
Što bismo mogli zvanično da kažemo, ali slika čini mi se govori dovoljno, dakle ono što smo i uspeli da vidimo i na društvenim mrežama.